we are good at adding things in our life, aren't we? When you're bored with a game, you find another one. It's so easy to keep on subscribing to new games in your library, to keep on adding new relationships, new friends, new job opportunities. Always something new, new ideas, new political doctrines, new religious beliefs. Always something new to refresh your life and set you on a new course. And yet, what we're not very good at is subtracting things. We're not very good at letting things go. We're not very good at acknowledging the possibility that we're wrong. And our lives get really busy, filled with a lot of things that we probably should reconsider, things we probably should give up, but we just can't let them go. And so it is that it is easier to convince someone of a new lie than it is to get them to stop believing a lie. Just like it's easy to convince somebody that the next new thing is going to be amazing in a way that all of the other previous things weren't. When the reality is, peace comes from focusing less on new things and making the most of the things you already have. Warren Buffett once said that if you had a punch card and it just had 20 punches on it, and you could only make 20 major investment decisions in your life, then you'd make big ones, and you'd think about them very seriously, and then you'd get rich, because you'd pick a few strong positions and let go of all the noise. Now, let's talk about Eternum, this fictional island that we're on in the fictional universe of New World. It's a place where we're lost, separated from home. And if we die, we get reborn. It's kind of like purgatory. You could die 1,000 times, but you're never going to escape. And in the end, you're either going to be immortal, or you're going to become lost and withered away, like a zombie. And whether you're immortal or eternally lost is determined by the lessons you learn, or the part of yourself that you lose spiritually along the way. So in that sort of a situation, what lessons would we need to learn? I suppose in life, cycles tend to repeat themselves. Cycles of pain, of hurt, of human ignorance, of suffering. And we can either define our lives by those things, or we can let go of them and focus instead on, if you will, a first principle. Something that's deeper than all of the noise that surrounds us. So what is that? What is that base principle that we should focus on in life? I think it's that truth is absolute. No matter what we make of it, It's still the truth. And oftentimes we want to have our own spin on it, our own interpretation, because maybe we want to justify something. We want to prove that something isn't true, despite the fact it is. Just because sometimes truth feels inconvenient. And yet, truth is the supreme judge of all things. It does not need or rely on our opinions or our interpretations of it. We can think we know something. We can choose to believe something that we were taught or something that we were told we ought to align ourselves with. But truth will ultimately always prevail, because truth is the sum of all things, whether they appear to be in harmony or not. And that's a premise that requires acceptance, because if you acknowledge that truth doesn't need your approval to exist, then you also inevitably must understand that there's no point in you trying to play God. Instead, in this moment that we are given, we should each be free of that desire to be something more than what we are. And instead, just strive to be accentuating the best of what we already have to offer, what we already have the capacity to be. As Abraham Lincoln once said, we should heed the better angels of our nature. There's so much passion in the world, and conflict, and so much noise. Perhaps now, more than any time before, there's a need to be truly neutral, if you can find it in yourself to be. To stop trying to change what the truth is, and just to accept the sum of all things exactly as they are. To cut out some of the noise in life, and to maybe have a few less icons on your desktop. It's okay to have no words sometimes. It's okay to have nothing to fill certain spaces. Because sometimes there really are no words to suitably react. Sometimes there is no perfect game to scratch that itch. Sometimes it's better to just fall back on those few original things that you put on your punch card, and then be true to them. And don't worry about checking every box. Don't worry about having a position on everything. Trust that all water will find its level, and truth will ultimately prevail in all things. Strive to be peaceful with others. Strive to be happy. I'll close with this thought. When I was a bit younger, encountering people who were probably older and wiser, I tended to notice that they were remarkably stoic about things. I would have this attitude that I wanted to be enraged about something, infuriated about something. I wanted to be up in arms. I wanted to revolutionize the circumstance I was facing. And oftentimes my exuberance was met with their indifference. They wouldn't tell me that I was wrong, but they also didn't really validate my position entirely either. They were more accepting of life, less inclined to feel like it was their duty to change it. And I suppose that was a bit frustrating to me, because they weren't interested in joining any revolutions. But now I understand a little bit more about where they were coming from. And I am also inclined to have perhaps a similar attitude toward life. There's always a plethora of new things we can be involved in, things we can sacrifice for, things we can give of ourselves for, things we can be in conflict over. And sometimes the best thing you can do is to say nothing and go outside and look up at the starry night sky, not necessarily make anything of it, just take it in and accept that whether it is clear to us or not, the universe is unfolding as it should. As an old friend once told me, life has loveliness to sell. So buy it and never count the cost. On your journey, best wishes always.